We're in Columbus, Ohio, as one of the biggest tournaments in women's soccer kicks off tonight. The defending World Cup champions, the USA, are in action, and the opposition is strong. The Olympic champions from Germany. Welcome to ESPN's coverage of the US women's national team. We're coming to you live from Mapfre Stadium in Columbus, Ohio, for the United States' first match in the 2018 SheBelieves Cup as they host Germany. Ian Dark here alongside former US World Cup winner Julie Foudy. A very good evening to everybody and welcome to this stadium. Now then, Julie, what about this game? Because this is always a tasty clash, isn't it? US-Germany.
Yeah, the two best teams in the world, the defending Olympic champion playing the defending World Cup champion. And then this tournament in general with SheBelieves, you have your top 4 of the 6 teams in the world playing in these next 3 games.
Let's have a look at the opposition because it's very, very classy. This could almost be like a World Cup semi-finals. Germany, of course, 8 times European champions and 2 times World Cup winners. They always have to be revered and respected. England, a rising force in the game, semi-finalists at the World Cup in 2015. That shocked a few people. France, well, they've had some great players, won this tournament last year, but so far not quite delivered on the world stage. And the United States, of course, World Cup winners with Carly Lloyd so inspirational, but with 1 or 2 setbacks last year, including in this very tournament, Julie, the SheBelieves Cup.
Yeah, that is my Continental Tire Analyst Corner. And the first game against Germany, they had some good looks. Again, this is, mind you, the time when the U.S. is tinkering with its lineup still. They get the 3 points in this win, but it was the experimentation phase, as Jill Ellis liked to call it. They were playing different formations, a lot of different players. And England in this game, even though the U.S. had its chances, thanks to an 89th minute goal by Ellen White there, gets the game winner. And then they go on in the final game, and this is where it all started to fall apart for the United States. France just dismantles the U.S. in that 3-0 win. And they went on, the United States, to finish last in the SheBelieves Cup in 2017.
They'll want to win it this year because the World Cup is getting closer, only 15 months away now. The teams are on their way for this opening clash for the US, and when we return, we'll bring you the all-important starting lineups.
Introducing the new Infiniti QX80. Infiniti, empower the drive.
Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of the US women's national team. US against Germany here. We're coming to you live from Mapfre Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. Let's have a look at the team news for you tonight. The USA team without Becky Sauerbrunn and Sam Mewis, who usually are in the starting lineup. That could be important. 2 teenagers there. Tierna Davidson, only her 2nd cap, and Mallory Pugh. Carly Lloyd returning to the starting lineup.
And Julie Ertz, there was a question mark whether she would actually start tonight because she banged up her knee a little bit, but she is back and feeling good. 7 goals in her last 9 games, so that's good news for the United States.
So that's the lineup. Germany there with Marashan, their star player, featuring again from midfield, gets goals too. Definitely one to watch. Here's the Germany lineup, coached by Steffi Jones, who has dual citizenship, Germany and America. Pop needs watching, the striker, 40 goals for her country. Marashan in midfield and Peter there at the back with over 100 caps. Very, very experienced. Good team. And
this will be interesting to watch, especially as you mentioned, Tierna Davidson having to go up against Alexander Pop, an excellent player. And with that young back line for the United States, with Becky Sauerbrunn still being out with that foot issue, a great test for the young Tierna Davidson.
It is, isn't it? Up against Alexandra Popp, one of the best strikers around. But there's a lot of faith in this young lady to be a big performer for years to come for the USA. Got a glowing review from the coach. Shot there of Da Brits, who got 3 goals on the way to Germany winning the Olympic gold medal in Rio. And away we go here, Germany kicking off US's opening game, this in the SheBelieves Cup. The other 2 teams in this tournament, England and France, played earlier, and England beat France by 4 goals to 1 and looked pretty impressive in Phil Neville's first game in charge, the former Manchester United star. What are you expecting from this one, Julie?
You know, I'm expecting both teams to be pressing. You saw against Denmark, the first game of this year for the United States. They love to press with their front 3 forwards, and they were successful doing it. And Germany is also playing in a more high-pressure style. So it's going to be interesting who can handle that and get out of it and deal with that pressure. But you always know with the 2 top teams in the world, it's going to make for an exciting match.
The US starting to get a rather more settled lineup, but of course no Becky Sauerbrunn and no Sam Mewis in the team tonight. This is Dahlkemper, who's been very, very good since she came into the side, wearing the number 7. Davidson alongside her. He's Carly Lloyd. It's the one change from the team which beat Denmark, the European Championship finalists, 5-1 in the January game. That was an impressive result. Dahlkemper long, cut up by Hendrick. It foul for the in-form Alex Morgan, who's got 8 goals in her last 8 appearances for the US, looking back to her best.
It's funny how fortunes change for strikers, right? 8 goals in 8 games, and before that she was on an 8-game goal-scoring drought. So once you find that rhythm and a little confidence, look what happens.
Free kick coming here for the USA, and Megan Rapinoe will take charge of this. Still going very, very strongly. 32 years of age now, winning her 131st cap this evening. Good depth on that cross, bounces around dangerously in there, but the referee has seen something that she doesn't like, and there will be a free kick to the Germans. Referee, by the way, from Honduras, Melissa Borjas. Germany have won 8 European Championships. They won 6 in a row, but had a big shock last summer, losing to Denmark in the quarterfinals. They could come up with a threat here. And it's well cut out by Smith, doing some covering. Came into the team for the Tournament of Nations. Did pretty well in it as well. Narashan looking for the little 1-2 on that far side. Germany will get a corner here. Germany recently beat France 4-0. Looks like Verena Feist is going to come up to take the corner kick. It'll be in swinger. She's wearing a face mask, by the way, protecting a facial injury she's picked up in training, we understand. Goes a long way, and it's still bouncing around a bit dangerously in there. And Carly Lloyd, determined that she'll star in another World Cup, even nearing 37 years of age. She will be by then anyway.
Don't ever bet against her.
That's what she told me yesterday.
Yeah, and you know that she hasn't been starting, and so the questions come around. You know, what's her role going to be in this World Cup? But you know, with Carly, when her back is pressed against a wall, that she's going to be fighting and scrapping. That's the one thing. She's not one to sulk. And here she is tonight getting her start.
getting very competitive as well in this squad as well. Players to come back. Here's Smith. And Julie Ertz, who was a doubt for this game with a knock to the knee, as Julie was explaining to you, up towards Morgan. I think she missed a bit of training. Same with Kelly O'Hara as well. She missed some days of training with an ankle injury, but was okay in the training earlier on in the week, and no reaction to that, so she plays at left back.
Yeah, and you know, the lingering injuries is an issue with this team as of late, and I get they're playing a lot of games, but when you look at a Rose Lavelle, for example, who's, you know, been out months and months with this hamstring injury, and then just re-injured it again, and so has a setback. I mean, the frustration she must have.
Picked up here by Pop. Hoot chasing on that far side. An expectation when we spoke to Jill Ellis was that the Germans might be a little more direct, playing a lot of crosses in from their wide players.
Going back to the Germany of old, perhaps. She's the smart one with the beanie on.
Yeah.
It is cold here tonight. I'm seeing the snow starting.
Well, we've got a heater on. We've got a heater on here.
Almost
haven't we?
burnt your leg off earlier.
Yeah, you can pay the rent on that. The temperature's probably dropped about 15 degrees, I'd say, in the last 2 hours. It's been heavy rain as well, but the pitch is in pretty good condition. Here's Alex Morgan for the US. Horan towards Lloyd. It was well defended by the Germans in the end. Kemmer getting it away. And Dahlmann. The USA did beat Germany 1-0 in this competition last year in their opening game, but they lost the other two. 1 or 2 setbacks last year as the team were pretty highly tried. Australia as well, winning in the US and winning that Tournament of Nations event on the West Coast back in the summer. It was a year of living dangerously, wasn't it, for the US, really?
Especially that first half of 2017, and then they started to turn things around, especially as Ertz started scoring goals.
Lovely ball in there behind by Pop, setting that up for De Britz. Good goalkeeping by Elisa Neyer, who has to prove that she can be a goalkeeper of the quality of Hope Solo and Brianna Scurry before her. I think the plan is she plays all 3 in this tournament.
It is indeed the plan.
Germans building quite nicely. Ranked number 2 in the world. Picked up in midfield by Dahlmann. And then Kemmer's long ball looking to find Hoot.
That's going to be a great matchup on that left side of the U.S., the right side of Germany. Hoot versus O'Hara. Already we've seen about 3 times on that flank. You don't often see O'Hara matched for pace there, and Hoot has some pace on that right side for Germany.
And speed can kill. That's the one thing defenders are really frightened of, somebody who can show them a clean pair of heels. Picked up by Mallory Pugh. She might still get another stab at that. Babette Peter doing the covering, not getting enough far away. Lloyd. Pugh tried to just guide that into the path of Lindsay Horan, but it didn't quite work out. And Horan has won the ball back here for the US. Dahl Kemperin. These 2 countries have won 10 of the 13 global championships in women's soccer. That's the World Cup and Olympic Games. The other three, in case you were wondering, Norway 2 and Japan 1.
A lot of history.
Well, they've dominated, haven't they? Rapinoe with the corner kick. Morgan couldn't quite reach it. Horan tried to play it in again. Here's O'Hara. Well, the goalkeeper there was just scrambling and trying to get her bearings. No problem in the end for Almut Schult, who's winning her 50th cap for Germany tonight. There is Steffi Jones, who has a lot of connections with the US, has dual citizenship. Her father was an American soldier. Feist. Mallory Pugh. Setting records really for somebody so young, with her goals and assists so far already in an American shirt. And away by Smith.
Such a good test for this back line tonight, especially a Becky Sauerbrunn-less back line. You only have 16 caps between Dahlkemper and Tierna Davidson, the two center backs.
They've got some defending to do here. Marchand was in there and it wouldn't quite drop. Just to develop your point, those two centre backs come from the same place as well. Menlo Park, California, in the Bay Area. Must be something in the air there.
I don't have to tell you, Ian, where Davidson chose to go to college as well, do I?
Oh, couldn't have been Stanford, could it?
She's only a sophomore there. Just won a national championship as well. It's a pretty good year.
Here's Pugh. That's very good covering by Feist.
You know, there's a great story she told me as well. She said, I grew up, Davidson told me this last time when we were in for Denmark, I grew up watching Kelly O'Hara play at Stanford. And now she's playing right alongside of her, literally. Kelly's at left back, she's at left center back.
10 years difference in their age. Young Davidson only 19. Kelly O'Hara winning her 106th cap for the US today. Here's Rapinoe. It's very windy up there. Morgan with a chance with the header, and then Carly Lloyd couldn't quite get a shot away.
And she knows I should have pulled the trigger on that one. Especially with Germany, you don't have a lot of time and space. Against other teams, you can get away with taking that extra touch.
Carly Lloyd is 2 goals away from reaching 100 for the USA. Only 5 players in history in that club. That ball caught on the wind, fell for Mallory Pugh. The flags are tugging at the poles around this stadium. Not easy for the players. This time last week they were telling us they'd sold 18,000 tickets for this game. I think 1 or 2, bearing in mind the conditions around this area in Ohio today, have decided they might just keep the ticket in their pocket and stay at home and watch it. That's what it's like, and it's getting colder. Somebody even said there might be a bit of snow, but there's no sign of that yet. Here's Morgan. Just overplayed it. Just too much weight on it for Pugh to take advantage. On Sunday at noon Eastern on ESPN2, the United States women's national team in action again in the SheBelieves Cup, taking on France from the Red Bull Arena. And already France needing points from that, having lost earlier on today. That coverage noon Eastern, ESPN2, and streaming live on the ESPN app as well. And there's the result confirmed from earlier. England 4, France 1. Here's Morgan with a chance for the US. It's away by Kemmer. By the way, at half-time you can see the goals from that game.
France looked poor, didn't they?
Yeah, well, they did for the first 75 minutes. Then they, for 15 minutes at the end.
Yeah, but that game was over by then.
It was over. Yeah, too late.
Oof. It's as bad as I've seen them in a while. And they lost 4-0, France did, in November to Germany.
Yeah. Ball presented to Carly Lloyd. Much involved early on in the action here. That's Marashan. Here's the speedy Svenja Hoot. Jennifer Marashan again with the cross towards Pop. Important piece of defending there. And still might be a goal here for Germany, but poked wide in the end by Dabritz. Opportunity that.
What a sequence by Dabritz as well. This is Marazon coming out of the midfield. Such a difficult run to track. But Dabritz getting to that ball, beating one player, then beating a second, and then just really uses the wrong surface there to yank it wide. But a good effort by Marazon to play that ball across and Dabritz to be on the end of it. And that's the danger of number 10, Marazon, is she loves to make those runs out of midfield. Has the engine to do it, and when she gets in, she finds players in those seams.
Hoot to lead inside Pop. Hoot making a diagonal run. Tell you what, the players must feel like they're operating in a wind tunnel out there at the moment. Morgan with a flick on Rapinoe in behind here, and can score, and does score. It's Megan Rapinoe again. The old favourite delivering. US lead Germany 1-0.
And sometimes on a day, an evening like tonight, when it's as windy and rainy as it is, this is the best way to go, as direct as you can. A little flick on, Germany doesn't cover, they're exposed, and Rapinoe knows there's not many of these open looks you get. She's not gonna miss that one. But Germany caught wide open in the back, and Rapinoe there to just split the seam.
Yeah, that was one ball beats all. Well, she started that Tournament of Nations for the US and finished off that. Well, it was one ball beating everybody, but there's still work to be done.
And really a bit of a defensive lap for Germany, because you know in these conditions, those little flicked on balls are everything. And you plan for it.
Here's Hoot. Marashan with the header. She created 15 chances at the European Championships. That was more than any other player, despite Germany's early exit.
And the good news for Germany, she's only 25 years old. Alexander Pop, 26. Two biggest stars on their team right now.
Dahlkemper forward to Mallory Pugh. Got two in the 5-win and win over Denmark, did young Pugh. Here's Julie Ertz. Do you think Zach's here watching tonight, the star of the Eagles Super Bowl win?
I think he's somewhere sunnier than this, maybe.
Well, she was supporting him.
I know, he better be here.
We got that cutaway picture of her during the Super Bowl. Now, we've got a halftime feature, by the way, about Julie Ertz. It's worth watching as she pays a surprise visit to some unsuspecting Development Academy players. The USA only scored one goal in the SheBelieves Cup in all 3 matches last year. That was Lynn Williams' goal against tonight's opposition. Here's Tiana Davidson. She's apparently a young defender who can bring the ball out comfortable with the ball at her feet. Pacey, tall, good in the air. Ticking all the boxes on paper anyway. Marashan seems to be at the heart of everything for Germany. Well, there's a lot of protests going on here with the referee. And the final decision is a corner kick for Germany. Here it is again. Yeah, hit the post. It's nearly an own goal, that. O'Hara, I think. Wow. Freakish. Here comes the corner kick. Goalkeeper came for that and went back again. Neuer. It's come out to Feist. Hendrik wide for Meyer. One of the best right backs in the world. Here is Leonie Meyer again. Julius is there to cover. Of course, he was formerly used mostly as a central defender, and the elements are playing quite a big part in proceedings.
And it's really at the backs of the U.S. players. And as you saw with that flick under Pino and the Nair punt to her, really aiding them.
Mallory Pugh, it's okay because Carly Lloyd can pick it up in midfield. Back to Dahlkemper, who's become a fixture in the side already, Abby Dahlkemper, even though this is only her 15th cap. Pugh gliding past opponents. Alex Morgan with the little layback, hoping Taylor Smith could do something about it. Smith's out of position now as Germany tried to develop this attack, but the Germans give the ball away. And Ertz is penalised. Germany will get a free kick.
That's where Ertz is so good with her positioning in that holding midfield, is every time the team opponent gets it and they try and counter out of it, that she's right there to just stop everything coming through.
Hendricks long ball forward towards Alexandra Popp. I'll tell you something though, every time Marashan gets the ball for Germany, you suspect something might happen. She's brainy.
Yeah, and she's so good at just linking. And they've got her playing higher now with Popp. Similar to what we saw from Fran Kirby in the England game. You know when she gets it, something's going to happen.
Here's Kemmer. I'm sure Peter wanted the ball just there, but got it anyway. Dabritz was played into a bit of trouble. Alex Morgan unable to take advantage. Feist inside. Peter's diagonal ball did find Marashan. His Hoot. Popp. Marashan again. Nice move this by Germany. Meyer to play it in. And in the end, a very grateful Abby Dahlkemper can thump that into touch and end the attack.
Marzan in the middle of it again.
Germany, who won the World Cup in 2003 and 2007, and as Julia will remember, that Portland game, USA 0, Germany 3, that was Germany's big success on US soil. One of only two, by the way. Popp attacking that. Brilliant work by Dahlkemper that. Got there first, stopped Popp converting. Absolutely vital piece of defending. Long-range effort from Kemmer, but check this out.
Getting goal side, staying goal side. Excellent. Right on her. Perfect positioning.
Referee just wanting a word with Kemmer there. Here's why.
Friendly little tap, huh?
Yeah,
What are you talking about, ref?
Just give the free kick and let the game go on. Long ball towards Pugh, but the goalkeeper Schult was there. Here's Babette Peter, who plays for Wolfsburg. Numerous titles in her career, including a Champions League win with Potsdam. Here's Rapinoe, saw the goalkeeper just off her line and thought, you know what, I might try to chip her here.
I think she had Pugh in on the right side, though, as well. She may have been off, but that was another option.
Verena Feist and Dalman. We've been making the point, haven't we, Julie, covering these games, that of course the rest of the world is closing the gap on the established powers. I think we saw it a bit with Australia last summer, and of course the Netherlands' triumph in the European Championships was another little reminder. Nothing can be taken for granted. It all will have to be worked at, and I think winning the World Cup is going to be mighty tough for whoever wins it this time. There'll be not very many formalities.
You saw it in the European Championships, didn't we, over the summer?
Lovely ball. Pugh, maybe a bit too much juice on it for Rapinoe. Has to play go fetch a bit. Morgan's waiting in the middle. Rapinoe's cross. Alex Morgan tried to do some magic on the near post.
And Germany having a hard time when they're actually, and here's the replay from before, Rapinoe with so much space again. And if that ball hadn't been hit so hard, might have been able to take that one in herself, but Morgan on that near post. And every time Germany's trying to clear that back line and get something forward with a direct ball, you can see the wind just killing the ball dead. Having a hard time with it blowing right into their faces to play anything direct.
Mallory Pugh there with wearing gloves. A lot of the players in the earlier game between France and England were actually blowing into their hands at any time when the game
because that's when
stopped.
That temperature dropped.
Yeah.
You could feel it all of a sudden. You're like, wow.
Look at that.
Yep. It is chilly.
I think I did see the odd snowflake in the air there as well. Maybe a bit of sleet anyway. Here's Rapinoe driving it hard.
Yeah, why not with all the wetness?
Because the US will have to play it against this wind themselves in the second half. Look at the ball hold up there. That gives you a little idea, doesn't it? It just stopped.
It's pretty remarkable that this field actually is held up because it was raining hard most of the day. And of course the game was played on it with the France and England game just before this.
Horan towards Rapinoe. Here's Mallory Pugh, instant control, velvet touch that. Smith's cross not in the same category, but the referee, oh, the goalkeeper I should say, making a real mess of that. My goodness. I think that was the wind again though, I think, to be fair to Schult.
Yeah, and everything is just holding up.
Pop going in for the header, Marochan. Nothing that Hoot could do with that one. It's the return of MLS on ESPN, presented by Audi this weekend, Sunday. It's a great game as well. The first ever game in MLS for the new LAFC, with Bob Bradley as the manager, taking on Seattle Sounders, Clint Dempsey and all. Give you the details of that in just a moment as we watch this attack develop with Hoot. Once again, Dahlkemper to get it away. Coverage of that game, by the way, 5 Eastern on ESPN, also streaming live on the ESPN app, and well worth catching. I would suggest that one is a really nice opener. How will LAFC get on against Seattle? Huran. Kemmer getting back well. Pretty even, Stephen, bar the goal, isn't it, this?
Yeah, a little momentum shift went towards Germany for about 10, and now it's back.
Most of these German players, by the way, play in the women's equivalent of the Bundesliga in Germany for top clubs, apart from Marochan, who plays with Olympique Lyon in France.
Plays with Morgan Bryan now in France.
Yep. Lyon, by the way, the US team will be playing. They're the men's team just before the World Cup against France. That game's scheduled for June the 9th.
Nothing more depressing than knowing that you have to do the tour before the World Cup as a team because you didn't make the World Cup.
That's life. That's the way it... no point going on about it anymore.
No.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is. Done. We said it.
Given away by Taylor Smith on that occasion. Picked up here by Alexandra Popp. Now is Jennifer Marochan. And I suspect in normal conditions that would have been a ball that would have put Hoot right in on goal, but it just stopped again on the breeze. Well, it's more than a breeze.
Yeah, and if you're the U.S., you've got 15 minutes in this half with that wind at your back. You saw the advantage they had on the Rapinoe goal. Take some risks, flight some balls in there, and look for those flicks on.
Dallerman. It's impressive how well Popp links up the play, even though she's playing as the striker. Quite prepared to let the midfield players burst past her, and she's got a nice touch on the ball as well. You'll remember playing this opposition, won't you, in big games down the years? A lot of them. Met in the '99 run, didn't you? 3-2 to the USA with President Clinton watching among the 54,000 crowd.
Look at that, pulling that out from the research notes.
Is Rapinoe looking to skip inside. Debritz is across to do the covering. Talking of statistics and a bit of research, just to underline the point about which way the wind is blowing. 5 of the 6 goals already scored in this stadium today have scored the goal to the right as you look at it, with the wind behind. I don't know if that's significant or whether it was just duff defending. It was in some cases.
Coincidence.
Yeah. Horan scored the match winner in the Women's Championship final for Portland Thorns last year. Big goal. She's starting much more often now, isn't she? Used to be used mostly as a sub a few months ago.
She's really secured her spot too in the last few months in that higher position in midfield.
The referee's not ready yet for this to be taken for some reason or another. Now she is. Oh, and the goalkeeper with a very unconvincing fist on that.
Scholt just trying to get something on it, but you love the look of that, because with Rapinoe, with the wind, with the rain, make that keeper make a save. She's whipping it in there. Same thing on the corner kick. It's just so wet and sloppy.
Megan Rapinoe in charge of all the set pieces, for the pretty good reason she's good at them. That ball must have gone out of play on its journey and then curved back in. The goal kick's been given. That goal, by the way, for Megan Rapinoe puts her equal now with April Heinrichs and Sydney Leroux, 15th on the all-time list now with 35 international goals. And goodness knows how many assists as well. Especially remember that one at the 2011 World Cup for Abby Wambach in, what was it, about
122nd minute.
Well remembered, yeah.
Never forget that one.
Don't think too many who follow the women's game in the US will forget it. US rescuing the game against Brazil, about to be eliminated from the World Cup. Wambach's goal for a 10-woman team saved it and went to penalties, and the US went through. Got to the final to be beaten by Japan. Kemmer wins the header for Germany. So is this going to be a different story in the second half when the teams change around with the wind?
Well, when you have Pop running at you and Marazan running at you, and the way Germany's able to move this ball, it could create some problems for the United States. But right now, it's so difficult if you try and flight anything in there.
Verena Feist. And by Kemmer. Nice work, that wasn't it, by Taylor Smith, the right back. Here's Mallory Pugh. Pugh already has 8 goals and 12 assists in her first 30 caps. She's ahead of Carly Lloyd, and she's ahead of Julie Foudy as well at that stage. You were 5 goals and 8 assists at that stage. She's only 19.
The confidence too at 19 that she has.
Davidson just had to be careful. She did well there, just having a little look, because for a moment Hoot had just nipped in behind there. Any attempt at a back pass would have been cut off. It's Kelly O'Hara. Puran. Here's Rapinoe. It's well cut out by Kemmer. Good challenge. And the US getting the ball back quickly. I think Jill Ellis is quite confident about her forwards and midfield players at the moment. Injury here to Lindsay Huran. The challenge by Tabea Kemmer was muscular.
Looks like she almost lands on her own elbow there. And she's grabbing her stomach right away, and that's where she pointed to.
It looked like a painful fall more than anything else, didn't it?
Knocked the wind out of her, maybe, with that.
Certainly the referee saw nothing wrong with the challenge. It looks like she's going to be okay. Cap number 45 for Lindsay Horan today. She's played the full 90 minutes in the last 4 of those caps as well. By the way, some upcoming games to look out for from the NWSL on Lifetime. It all returns in March for the 2018 season, and it's a repeat of the final. First up, North Carolina Courage hosting Portland Thorns. That's March the 24th, 3:30 Eastern. 31st is Washington Spirit hosting Orlando Pride, and on the 14th of April, Utah Royals, new team, hosting Chicago Red Stars. I think Kelly O'Hara's joined Utah Royals, hasn't she?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been fun to see how much excitement they have out there and what they're doing in Utah. Lots on social media about it. It's great to see.
Here's Dahlkemp, who's been outstanding so far. And of course, the moment I say that, she gives the ball away. Svenja Hoot. I think the players have done pretty well, really, considering the conditions they're having to play in here. This has fallen for Alex Morgan. They know all about the threat she provides, and there are a couple of players around to quickly nip the ball away. Hendrick with the clearance. And Kemmer, Germans passing, just letting them down in the middle of the field there. If you're just tuning in, the USA leading with a goal from Megan Rapinoe. Here's Carly Lloyd trying to pick up Morgan. She was in some space as well, and Hendrick was the player in the way.
And loads of space around Carly Mord. I mean, that's exactly the position they want to find Lloyd in, where she's faced up, running at that back line.
It's absolutely vital to get that last ball correct, isn't it? In that type of situation, have to be ruthless and clinical. Cleared by Schult. Feist will do well to reach that.
There's the Pugh pressure again. Mallory Pugh, not afraid defensively to put in that work. We saw how that paid off in the Denmark game in January. Picked up 2 goals off of that defensive pressure.
Morgan. Marchand getting a little foot in. Ertz played it forward. Wants a return ball. Here's Rapinoe. Not this time. I think Megan Rapinoe's still doing a guitar strumming.
I think she'll always be guitar strumming, thankfully.
I'm sure the other players love it. I think at Newcastle United, Premier League team, Noel Solano used to play the trumpet and keep half the team up awake at night when they were staying in hotels for away games, practicing.
I think I'd much prefer the guitar.
Yeah. Bad clearance that by Feist and Alex Morgan. Again, the US don't make enough of the opportunity because Mallory Pugh is supporting that attack quite promisingly.
Pressing a little bit more in this last few minutes of this first half.
Coming up at halftime, we'll have that Julie Ertz feature, a surprise visit to the young players in Minnesota. And we'll give you another look at Megan Rapinoe's goal, which has lifted her up the all-time list. This tournament, by the way, continues on Sunday on ESPN. A second lot of games coming up from Harrison, New Jersey at the Red Bull Arena And then the following Wednesday down to Orlando, where it might be a little bit warmer than this, I think. Just a chance, isn't there? Babette Peters' ball. It's going to be very difficult to play a long ball in these conditions. Carly Lloyd lays it wide. Huarano's over that knock now. Again, it couldn't quite pick up Carly Lloyd, who'd got in a great position there. That's half time. USA leading Germany by a goal to nil here.
Germany 0.
The goal scored by Megan Rapinoe. Yet again, has been such a reliable player for such a long time for the US as well. Splendid play at the back by Abby Dahlke, but the nearest Germany came was what looked like a very close to an own goal, which hit the post. But the USA have a crucial lead here. Might be different in the second half. We'll find out when we come back.